Welcome to the 3Cs podcast with me, Carmen LeRowé. The 3Cs represent true connection, a community that offers a safe space, and a place to co-create. It's a feminine energy-led collective where we give back or pay it forward. Our mission is to create a safe space where there is true connection, where people are safe in a community that supports everyone and is very inclusive. At the 3Cs, we believe that together we are stronger and that through community we can change our reality. This podcast is a way to bring people together and share their stories to know that you are not alone in this. We all have our own unique superpowers, but sometimes we forget or feel stuck. We have a sense that there's something bigger out there or something more, but we're not aware where to find it or how to reach it. That's where we come in, and where we offer a safe space where you can flourish, grow, learn, and also give back. Welcome to the 3Cs. Enjoy our podcast.
Okay, so I would like to welcome today's guest on the podcast, Carmen Coleman. Carmen, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for inviting me and having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. So I'm really excited that we have this crossover in our work. So when we met the other day, you were telling me a little bit about a sort of new venture, a new idea, which I thought is actually such a beautiful topic to have as the theme of our next podcast episode. And that is all about what you call the 3Cs. So that is connection, co-creation, and community. And I feel like when we focus on these elements, kind of something magical almost happens. I've experienced that lately, and I've called it the ripple effect. And it's when like you follow your heart and you start to attract people and events that almost help to manifest your dreams in a way that maybe you wouldn't even have thought of yourself. I've experienced that a little bit with this podcast because when I started it, I didn't really know where it was going to lead, what was the consequences would be, but I just had a feeling and I was like, let me just go with that. And I've already seen this ripple effect in action, actually, because thanks to the podcast, you and I came together, we connected, and now I'm really excited to see what we are going to create today. So I'm going to hand it over to you. Would you please introduce yourself to the listeners? Tell us a little bit about your background and maybe what led you up to discovering the importance of these 3Cs in the first place.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you. Well, Carmen Coleman, originally from Australia, been living in the Netherlands for a long time. Just a little bit about like how I grew up and my background is. I ran away from home at 16.
Oh, wow.
The Netherlands. Got married at 18, not a wise decision, but very valuable lessons. And it gave me a beautiful daughter. And then married again. I did it again.
Did it again.
And had another beautiful daughter. Oh. And I got married to a narcissist. And there's a lot of things happened in my life that I drew inspiration from, not at that moment, but I've learned so much for now, which I want to help people inspire and guide them with my experiences like you do within your podcast as well. I love your podcast. And
thank you.
And my greatest lesson, because I feel, and I know this in my heart, that we're not here just to be, we're here for a reason. And my greatest lesson and greatest trauma, because we all get traumas, that's how we develop as a human, was my youngest daughter, February 2020, just before COVID, passed away suddenly.
Oh my goodness.
She's forever 18. And as you can imagine, I was in a very dark place for over 2 years where I didn't want to live. And I had to reach way back to all my teachings. I've been always very active in the spiritual realm because I knew I never fitted in. And I was always like, was that me coming here to the Netherlands? But it's not me. Yeah. And it's nothing to do with the place you are, or it's the human you are and who you are meant to be and become. Because we're not here just to consume or whatever. We're here for a purpose. And Rowan, that's her name, inspired me after 2 years of like really struggling, applying all my teachings, which I'd like to share and inspire others with, to help them, to help heal women's hearts.
Wow.
In the sort of the broader space. So I picked up my own company again and called it LeRowé, which is a combination of my girls' names. Is Lisa for Le, and Roé, as I called Rowan, Roé. And Roé is a French name, which means innocent but fearless. And that was her, and that is me. That's how I view life, from a place of love and innocence, where everything is welcome. Love is such a powerful force. And what I took away from my daughter passing is that tomorrow is not promised for no one. We think we're in control, but we're not. But what we can control is how we react to things that happen in life. And I choose every day to start my day and live my life from a place of love. Things happen, life happens. It's how we react to them is what we can control, and nothing else. So yeah, that's sort of a intense story.
I feel like we need to have a whole series of just, there were so many
I know,
beautiful topics you brought up.
I'm going to bring that. I'm also at a place where a lot of my friends said you need to write a book, and I will. But starting with the podcast first and sharing things with you guys, and like yourself, we want to inspire and help others with what we've been through, and help others to create a life and get through the trauma and be the perfect person that you are already at this moment. And not wanting for, oh my gosh, I want this new whatever, or what society brings us. And
or feeling like there's something wrong with us, like you talked about not fitting in, you're weird and beautiful, and that's what makes you so special, and you don't have to fit in.
Exactly. And there's so many, with LeRowé, I coach people and help them to have to live a happier life, but it's not just a diet or exercise. It's a whole holistic approach, in that sense that you've got so many layers, right? You have your upbringing as a child, you have all the different roles you play as a child, as a friend, as a partner, as a co-worker. Like, there's so many roles you play in life, and they all are interconnected, and they all have an effect on each other. So all aspects of life you need to address. And we all have traumas, what I mentioned earlier, and these traumas also create and build who we are. And at one point you need to address them and heal them to move on in another stage in life. And I can talk about that for hours. And just to give you a little background on my education, if you will, neurolinguistic practitioner. I've studied meditation with Indian teachers. I studied automolecular science, human design. I have a spiritual side, and a lot more. But that's not important. Like, I've also done the normal education as a.
You spoke about your day job business. On the other side, right?
I studied business, and so that's my alter ego in life, where I'm a cybersecurity and compliance consultant. So that is the life that you sort of, in a society, I sort of cater to, right? That's your purpose in life. And I've discovered that is not it. I'm not saying it's not valuable, but that is not our essence for who we are. And while creating LeRowé, I did a brand strategy course with an amazing person. And she did not go to like, oh, what does the market want? Or no, she went to, who are you? What is your authentic self? And then
I find that so powerful, right? I mean, it also gives an extra drive. I found that myself with my own business of just, giving meaning to something that's on such a deeper level, and it gives so much more passion and drive to actually do the work. It doesn't feel like work if it's coming from this deep, meaningful place.
Exactly.
Inside. Yeah.
And especially also, what is your purpose? And just to give you as an example, a perfect example where you went through a burnout, you found your passion, your jewelry design, but hold it to something that is even more sacred, you know, the connection and the equality of people from where you come from.
Yeah.
And we all have a purpose in life to give back or pay it forward, or how you want to call it. And doing this brand strategy course, I went back to my teachers, my amazing teachers. And then I actually discovered, yeah, I have my business, my coaching business, which I also coach businesses, etc. But I don't want to do this alone. I don't feel that in my heart that is right. I feel that besides helping people, I want to be together. So I dug really deep into my heart and thought, what is important to me? And then I came up with the 3 C's: connection. And what does that mean? Feeling seen, heard, understood, truly connect from the heart, and not with a reward in anything monetary, but in feeling. And then community, a home away from home. Like during the whole grief process, being in another culture where I had no support, that really hit me. And as an introvert, I imploded. And the community I found through my passion for dance and for arts, especially my dance. I could not speak, so I could only move, and I could be in my bubble to process. And then later on, I found this beautiful community with our yoga den, where we met and connected with such beautiful, like-minded spirits there. It was amazing. And that actually helped me, you know, just get out of this whole black hole. This black hole is still there.
Yeah.
It will never go. That's just something I also want to help people with grief in any aspect, not just loss of a human, but loss of whatever you need to say goodbye to and let go.
Yeah, it's not like it suddenly goes away one day. It's more like
no, it
learning
doesn't.
to live with it and learning to accept the dark side as well, the darkness that it's also makes us.
And always know what will help you to stay in that beautiful state. Because there's like my Indian teachers told me, there's a beautiful state and a suffering state. And you can choose where you want to live. And both give you something. The suffering state in like being sick and getting attention. Attention is also one of our basic needs as humans. And so that's also something it gives you something. And it's less work to being in a suffering state. Being in a beautiful state is way more work. But as soon as you've made that journey, it gives you so much more. So that's connection, community, and co-creation. I am at my very best in business as well. I am a business consultant, but one of my things, I sort of have these 3 C's at my normal work as well, where I am a business developer, which means I create business. So, and I love to create things, but not just me, but helping others to co-create. That gives me so much joy to see someone grow. And I learn a lot. I grow a lot. I get introduced to new spaces. And it's just such an amazing feeling. It's such a, it's almost like a drug. It's like more and more
high.
and more. And that is why I had this idea. Oh my God, it's like LeRowé is sort of my brand name in honor of my girls, where I help others as a coach one-on-one. But the 3 C's is something I want to build up this, and it's called the Co-Creative Collective. This collective where, and it has 3 pillars, the 3 pillars: connection, community, and co-creation. But there's a foundation. It's feminine energy led. We give back or pay it forward. You have this need or curiosity that there's more out there. You know, you want to be part of something big, and you know in your heart there is something, but you're not aware yet where to find it. That's us. That's the 3 C's. And everyone, it's very inclusive. No one is shunned from this. it's energy, feminine energy led. So but especially all the groups that are more vulnerable and can't find their place. I have a good friend who's in the gay community who said, like, there's so much just of an outward focus in that community, and I want to change that. So he's in our group, and that's so important that we just get rid of all these boxes where everyone tends to put us in. You're in this box, and we're not in a box. You're just you, but you're part of a bigger of the universe. You're part of something bigger, right? And that's what it actually stands
I almost feel relaxed when you said that. Like sometimes we're just sitting alone and we feel like we have to figure it all out by ourselves. But like just hearing you say that, it's like, oh, it's gonna be okay. we
exactly
together. Yeah.
And that is the power of doing things together. It's utilizing everyone's superpower. That's how I call it. Everyone has their own superpower. And if you want to learn something new, that's fine. But if you know, this is my superpower, this gives me joy, find someone else to do the stuff that you're not that good at or does not give you joy, and then create something beautiful. And this ripple effect that you were talking about is exactly what I am experiencing now, because I spoke to it about the 3 C's with a couple of my friends at yoga and friends I have from my dance world and just friends. And everyone was on board, like, yes, we don't know what it is, but we want to be a part of it. And it sounds amazing. And so,
it's so much fun that, I had exactly the same. Like when we connected, I was like, I don't know exactly what this is, but yes, it sounds good. And it's so refreshing because the intention is just, it's coming from a really loving place of inclusivity and just trying to help everyone instead of, what I see a lot out there is everyone is really kind of in it for themselves and it's trying to promote themselves. And that's why it's so refreshing what you're doing. And I think that's why people are attracting to you.
Yeah, and I also get feedback from people that are so in their mind, like, oh, do you have a business plan? Do you have like return on investment? What is it going to bring you? And to be honest, I don't have a return on investment plan, because I truly believe in my heart of hearts that this is something I need to do, and it will give back to everyone. It's not a business club, but of course, if you're co-creating together, you're giving back to our community. It will give you an opportunity to promote yourself in a very natural way. Organic growth is one of our pillars. And I mean, organic growth is like, this is a journey. And I have ideas where it can go to. I'm a business consultant, so I have the things there, but I wanted to evolve with the perspectives of the members. So otherwise it's not co-creation, otherwise it's me again starting something. And that's the whole idea behind it.
Oh, beautiful. It's really inspiring, because I think at least I've seen on my own journey as well of, like I said before, trying to, or thinking that you need to solve all these problems yourself. And what I've also come across lately is learning to ask for help as well is quite a big one, So trying to think you always have to be perfect and you always have to have all the answers, but it's okay, and also to come into a group and take the best skills of everyone, and then that's how you can like elevate each other and make something bigger than yourself, actually. So really beautiful, really lovely. And I also loved what you were saying, that about sort of finding your calling. I was curious about, when did you know that was it? Was it always there? This thing, I think you said it was like healing the hearts of women. Is that right?
That is something I have come to learn recently. I always had from a young age already, and I'm very spiritual. As a child, I felt entities which scared me to death. So I slept in my mom's bed until I was 12. And I shut that down, like, coming to Netherlands and running away and stuff. But at one point, I really felt I'm different. I need to address that. And why am I not feeling in place? And I did everything the hard way, or not the paved way, is, if you will. And I always was attracted to alternative things like being a vegetarian or being mindful to animals and the spiritual realm. And I always had this dream from a young age that I wanted to help children in need in South Africa. I still have not.
Really? There's our connection again.
I have not been to South Africa. I have been because of Rowan after she passed. I was left without a child. She was still living at home, still in high school and whatnot. And I had this idea, I want to adopt a child, which is hard when you're over 40 and single in the Netherlands.
That's crazy, right? Why are they so strict with these things? I think it can be really...
I have my own reasoning for that, but it's not suitable for this podcast.
Okay.
I want to keep it positive.
Okay.
But I went to Timor-Leste, which is a third world country, an island between Bali and Australia, where I went to this orphanage and a girls' orphanage. That whole island is run by the Roman Catholic Church.
Okay.
And with all the ideas we have of the church, it's a well-oiled machine. I was in awe of the organization. And of course, there's a lot of things going on with the church that we don't agree about. But the people there, the nuns and the priests, they are dedicated to help these people. And it was very healing to me. But also, if you look at these children that have nothing, I was lucky to stay with the nuns. So I had food and water and not much, but I had it. And they did as well. These children are so happy. And then looking at our children here in the Western world with all our privileged issues, our mental issues, and we can learn a lot from these cultures that have so little. They don't have the luxury of having luxury diseases, in my mind. You know, all our mental challenges, I don't want to diminish them, but they are also triggered by the world, the society we live in here in the West.
Yeah. It's almost like you have too much time to be thinking, you know, then there's too much stuff going on in your head. Whereas if you're living in a bit more of a survival mode, I'm sure that half of those things don't play a real role.
And it's just the primary things are important: food, safety, that's it. And we have all these other things that, like, oh, we want to have a career, we want to be respected, and if you go down to the basic needs of humans, the 3 C's are still applicable. Our human need is to be connected, to be part of a community, and to work together to create life, and not to be alone and be super rich. Or I'm not like saying you can't be rich. You do, but I mean, it's more. And I also feel, because we have so much in the place where we live, we have a responsibility to give back. I truly believe that is our responsibility. And so that's also where it's coming from for me. There's a whole lot of stuff I want to say about that. Wow. This whole political.
But it's interesting as well. Also, like, I think what you said about this community, I feel like in our Western culture that's not really so much there, especially in the Northern Europe where we're living. It's like such an individualistic society, and you know that creates a whole series of issues on its own. You know, I think probably back in the day when we were living, you know, much more in a community setting, then you also you learn from people, you learn from the younger people, you learn from the older people. And you know, nowadays we're so segregated, and we just close in on our group of chosen people that look like you, that act like you, that are the same age as you or something. That's why I've also found it so wonderful, like where we met at Yoga Den, where suddenly I'm confronted with people of all different ages and groups. And you know, it's just so fantastic, because up until that, I have to be very honest, I've mostly had friends that are in a very small selection of bubble, because you pick them and you go to the same places, and it just narrows down, and your perspective shrinks and shrinks. So
yeah, true. I had the same, and I was married twice with a Dutch person and was part of the Dutch culture. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, don't get me wrong, but I did not feel in place. And I have not. And that's why I feel that any community should be, especially any community should be safe. So I want to build this community where you can feel safe. If we would this is also my dream. We can offer workshops to people within the community where they can talk in a safe space if they want about things that are bothering them. Like you want to help with burnout. I want to help with trauma, abuse. We all have our traumas, right? And I have healed most of mine. I'm still healing, and I don't know if I can completely be healed from the loss of a child. But I have found a new way to deal with it, if you will, is by helping others. And I think that is so important, because we try to rationalize away everything that is a bit hard, or very hard. Because when my daughter passed, the whole Dutch community just ignored me completely. My family
People
couldn't.
don't know how to deal with death. I feel like, it's awkward for them to talk about it. So then they think, oh, I don't want to say something wrong. Let me just not say anything at all.
Exactly. And that is something, that's just an example. And I'm not saying everyone is like that. This is my experience. But that should not be the case in my mind. You should always be able to find someone in this community that can help you. So that's the helping part, but also just the co-creating. There's I know we have in our collective also a lot of dancers, singers, artists that are young and want to establish themselves. This is a good stage for them to show what they can do and grow into, learn from others, writers as well. So this is just a nice melting pot. And for people that don't want to co-create but just want to consume what we have to offer, it's also an amazing place. So we'll have creators and maybe inspire others to do a little dancing, and everyone in their own the space where you're in today. If you're not a dancer at all, maybe you try little movement, or you've never meditated, we'll try a little meditation. And if you want to dive deeper, there's always someone in the community that can go deeper with what you want. Or so that's the dream. And well, actually, it is not my dream. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. That's what one of my teachers always said. And I've been dreaming about this for so long, and it's getting there. It's time. I feel that a lot of people are longing for this, have been waiting for this, and us meeting is also not a coincidence. There's so many people who are realizing that these 3 C's, they're very dependent on each other. You know, you can't just do connecting without community, without creating something. It's all connected, and that's what I like about it.
It's just such a, like I said, it's such a refreshing point of view. And I think when you talk about it, I feel that safe space that you're talking about. I mean, the word safe space has maybe been a little bit overused, but the way that you're describing it, it has really such potential for that. And I think also about inviting all the misfits or whatever, like the ugly ducklings, to all come together. And I also love that story, by the way, of the ugly duckling that, because I've also felt like that in my life. Always like, oh, I'm not fitting in here, and what's wrong with me? And, just turning that all around. And it's like, we don't all have to be carbon copies of each other. And it's like, celebrate your uniqueness and your authenticity.
Exactly. And there's always these perspectives that people have that I really want to help others to not just look at the cover. Feel the energy, feel the intention of someone, because to me everyone is beautiful. Unless you have very bad energy, then you turn so beautiful, but that is in your own power, because you can change that and become beautiful again. So that for me is beauty.
And I think when you encourage people to kind of look a bit deeper, or maybe to start having these deeper conversations, then it does also have, again, this ripple effect, and other people feel like, okay, it's safe for me to go there, because maybe in their environment they haven't really had that encouragement, or there's a lot of surface level stuff that goes on. So I can imagine that it also starts to have this effect. And then also, you were talking about in the collective, if you're participating, but maybe you're just watching. And I think, maybe it also starts to get people to say, oh, and they see something, it encourages them. It's like this invitation to maybe try something different. This was also a theme of the previous episode I did, of just, providing an invitation to it's like, hey, just try something else because you don't know. And then you stay in your little box and you think, oh, I'm not supposed to adventure out of there. But, if the curiosity is there, then that's the first step. And then it's like having the support of the community and people around you to say, yeah, go for it, give it a try.
And you can basically do anything you like. If you can dream it, if it's a dream of yours, you can, and you just do it to your best ability. You don't have to be like, if you want to sing, like I also sing, I don't aspire to be a performer, because then when I perform, I get so stressed. But I love singing.
Yeah.
I love dancing, and then I'm in my bubble, and I'm an okay dancer, but not necessarily a performer. But it gives me so much joy, and that's the beauty of doing, co-creating something, or just doing whatever. It could also be journaling or anything. All anything that stimulates your creative mind, gets you out of your thinking.
So it comes back down to also creativity, which I find such a fascinating thing, that it's not reserved for one group of painters. It's actually for all of us, and we all have our own way. It's more just about kind of tapping in and finding like, what is that thing inside of me that needs to come out? So do you have maybe some tips or some, have you worked with this at all, of like encouraging people to like tap into maybe, find their purpose or find their creativity? Because that can also be quite a struggle. I think, I went through a phase of really, I didn't know. And well, maybe if I'd sat down and someone had like really helped, talked with me, I would have thought, okay, actually, I would have confessed to this jewelry dream that I had, which I didn't dare to tell about. But there was a time when I just felt quite lost and I didn't know my purpose. And then that was very, very draining and very demoralizing.
Well, a couple of tips. I've thought about that, a couple of tips. I can give us a couple of generic tips for a happy life, not for co-creation, because that's something I do help people with.
Okay.
But then you have to go back from scratch. But what I always tend to start with is taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
That's number one. And that is loving yourself. That is not an easy thing to do if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
We are not, especially.
You have to relearn it, but exactly, especially women, for sure. Yeah.
So loving yourself, but that also includes not just the feeling, all the senses, right? So it's the feeling, the thoughts, it's the body, everything. So my rule of thumb is, what I always do with everyone, if you really want to make a change, consistency is my word. Okay. Consistency.
And not a C.
Yeah. Well, that's a coincidence, but like in the sense of how you treat yourself. Have healthy habits, create healthy habits like meditation, if that, or mindfulness, whatever, exercise. And this is on a daily. Exercise in any shape or form. What fits in your lifestyle, what you can maintain. That's important, because if you can't, it's not achievable, it won't work, it will frustrate. Yes. Healthy eating. So it's the mind, the body, exercise. That's more also exercise is not just to make you strong, it helps you get healthy, but what exercise also does is helps you regulate emotions. So when I dance and I was so sad, I could let go of some of that. So there's a deeper meaning to taking care of yourself with meditation, exercise, healthy eating, and healthy relationships. So the beautiful state is also something that's sort of the basics, deciding for yourself and finding out for you what fits for you. What are the positive energies that feed me and uplift me? And what are the negative that I need to get rid of out of my life? And that can also mean family.
Yeah, people.
This is oftentimes a topic that is not that nice, but it's also family, or just know what your limitations are.
Boundaries.
You can stay with your family before it gets too much energy. So I work with energy, I work with your spirit, and I have a way to talk to your inner child, your spirit, and where I can ask you questions, your spirit, and our spirit cannot lie. We can, our ego can. You can say to yourself like, oh, I'm okay, or not okay.
Yeah.
But your spirit your soul is very pure. So I have a technique where I can do that. That is something I also use within my consultations to determine like, okay, so what do I need?
How are you really doing? Yeah.
Yeah, and oftentimes I find out if someone is sort of not honest with themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get cues, because then you get inconsistent reactions or behavior or and a lot of, so tips it's hard because everyone is different in their journey.
Sure, but I think those basic ones that you gave, it's so fundamental and so important.
And the most important one, you can eat bad and not exercise, sleep. Number one.
Yes.
Because during sleep, and I'll explain why, is when your body has the chance to restore. So try and get rid of toxic energy in your body, in your mind. Sleep is the most important thing. I almost forgot that one, which is a thing, because after Rowan passed, I did not, well, I still have trouble sleeping. I did not sleep for 2 years. I did not use medication because I let the process go.
That's very intense, though.
Yeah, but that's important to know.
Yeah.
And I hope this is sort of a good tip, because it's not like a golden bullet, like, okay, do this and you're going to be good.
Of course, of course. But I think what I really liked about what you said is also that consistency. So often I've heard people, yeah, you should do this and you should do this. But that idea of, keep on trying, and also like wake up every day and, okay, I'm gonna try again today. And I think every little step helps, So.
Yeah, it does. Everything you do, even if you've done it for a day, it's a day. You've done it one day, and ask for help, because it can be hard to change habit.
Absolutely.
Change behavior, to change because we all have limiting beliefs, etc. So we think we've always lived in this way, so we cannot change. You can.
And I think that's coming full circle back around to, this community, and finding a safe space where, you can actually just be vulnerable and come and ask for help, and change habits that if they need to be changed, and then hopefully also just turn it around and grow and become bigger and than yourself, and create beautiful things together. So
yes, and also most and foremost, have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. If this sounds all serious,
Yeah.
it is. But the goal is to share the love, to share the happiness, to feel better. So yeah,
that's what life is all about, right? At the end of the day. So this has been so beautiful, Carmen. Thank you so much. I feel like, we can definitely do a whole series on a number of these different topics that you spoke about. I feel really inspired, and I'm really excited to see where this collective is going to go and what's going to happen. So maybe, we have to invite you back in a couple of months' time to hear if there've been some developments and some projects and some inspiring stories to share with the listeners. So thank you again also for the wonderful tips that you gave us. And I always ask my guests at the end, where maybe you've already covered it, but how do you actually connect with yourself, maybe on a daily or a weekly basis? What's really important to you?
To me, what is important to me, my daily habits, which I cannot live without. And that is meditation, morning and evening, and my yoga practice. Any practice is fine. I live near Vondelpark in Amsterdam, so I walk my dog in Vondelpark in nature when it's quiet. And really taking care of my energy, and knowing, as I mentioned, I'm a human design expert. I know what type I am, so I know when to build in rest, sleep, healthy diet, and just connecting with people that give me energy and give me joy, and that makes me super happy. So that's what I do.
Oh, amazing. I feel inspired. So thank you so much for your honesty and your vulnerability and sharing this beautiful story with me and with all the listeners today. So I just want to ask also, where can people find you if they want to find out more about LeRowé or about the collective, or if they want to get in touch, where can they reach out?
Well, my Instagram would be the best place. I'm not posting that much yet, but Carmen at LeRowé on Insta. Drop me a DM, and yeah, I'm be happy to give you all the information you need and to connect. And since you're also like in the collective, we'll do more podcasts and introduce all the current members that are helping build it up. And so I'm very excited. We're working on the website and on the Instagram, and it's all to come.
Amazing. Well, we'll keep everybody posted, and we'll add the links in the show notes so people can also get involved in this exciting new project. So thank you again, Carmen.
Thank you so much.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time. Bye.